sẽ trình bày về công nghệ và con người ở trong nội hàm của một Việt Nam hiện đại.
Nun ja, wir haben hier gerade Herrn Jochen Werne auf der Bühne. Das ist der Direktor des Bankhauses August Lenz. Wir sind jetzt schon in Vietnam, wir werden auch in Vietnam bleiben. Wir sprechen jetzt, oder Sie sprechen jetzt darüber, wie die Entwicklung in Vietnam im Moment ist, wie positiv die ist, wie negativ sie auch sein könnte. Und Ihnen werden wir nun die Bühne überlassen.
I speak in English. Honorable ladies and gentlemen, it's a great privilege for me being here. And as you said, I unfortunately will not speak about how the development in Vietnam is, but I'll make a couple of reflections. And Professor, when you spoke to me before that and you introduced me in the morning, you said something about innovation, a quote of me. Innovation is bringing something to something great. And I'm sure most of you know that you have to your constitution, the Vietnamese constitution, also preamble. So bringing something to something great needs people. We are here in the innovation network. But as you said before, innovation is about people. And technology, we'll speak about that later on, is the instrument for that. And in your preamble to your constitution, it's written, in the course of the millennia-old history, the Vietnamese people working diligently, creatively, and fighting courageously to construct and defend their country, have forged a tradition of patriotism, solidarity, humaneness, righteousness, perseverance, and indomitableness that has created Vietnamese civilization and culture of today. So you're distinctive to do innovation. This is it. So easy. And if you speak about innovation, and we'll look on that now in the next slides, we see that a lot of things are going on already, and since years, and we have the best examples heard here in the room today, about the relationship Vietnam and Germany. And it's going on. And as we heard from Mr. Behrens this morning about the free trade agreement, this is something, a very, very big step into a future together of cooperation. Even though, we will see that in the next slide, that some people mean building walls is something better. I personally don't believe that walls is better than cooperation. But let's speak about innovation and what happens today. Because if we are not aware what happens today, we are lost. We just live in the times we are, and we don't catch the opportunities. And for example, in the Shark Tank, we have that all over the world, the Shark Tanks. You catch opportunities, you see them, and everyone can seize them when they are aware. And if you look about transformation, and it's all about transformation in which we are living at the moment, we see some things. And I'll make you an example. Technology, innovation, technology change is going very, very fast. We already speak about exponentially fast. What does that mean? I come to that in a second. Because we all here in the room, maybe someone is more clever than me, but I don't think we can think exponentially. Social change, which is we human beings, we are fast. Business change is slower because there are more people coming together. Organizational change is even slower, and unfortunately all over the world, because the political system is a complex thing, political change is also very much slower due to the classical boundaries which there are. But now let's go to the point coming together. And I asked myself, I did that example which I do now with you, in front of an auditorium of 1,200 people. Thank God there are not 1,200 in here, not yet. But it's something which is coming to your venture where you invested in. It's like Stay, the founder of Airbnb, did that. So I've just told it. He did it in a TED talk. And it's always a bad thing that a banker, which is quite boring normally, has to speak in before a lunch break. So he did the following thing to explain to us how important technology became in our lives in just a couple years. What did he do? He took a smartphone, and I want to ask you to make this exercise with me now, if you're available to that. So here's a banker speaking. I'm sure you have your smartphones with you, because it could be boring, checking some emails, WhatsApp, or so on. So if you could take it out like me at the moment. You have your smartphone here? Please, take it out. Fantastic. Fantastic. And we all know, you're not Philip probably, because you we all know it's technology, and it's a very important piece of technology at the moment for us, so we locked it for sure. We haven't had it open. But please do the following: unlock it, like I do it with the fingerprint, for example. So, could you unlock it? Take it in your hand, unlock it, show it. Okay? And now, please look to the person on your right-hand side or behind you, smile in their face, and hand on your mobile phone, please. How does that feel? All your photos, all your private WhatsApp and messages in the hand of a stranger. I don't know what's more better in the hand of a stranger or your wife or your husband. This you can answer yourself. So, what I want, that you feel this in your stomach. This is not a piece of technology. This is connected to your emotion. So this is what happened. And there's a question of you, I think, about my startup and so on. If you connect something to emotion, there were motorcycles named. It's an emotional thing. It's not about a piece of technology. Since when is the iPhone on the market? Since 11 years. A friend from Bulgaria, just had a telephone call with her. She is watching this live at the moment. Ladies and gentlemen, 15 years ago, if you would have wanted to stream that live to the world, first of all, it would have cost millions, if even possible. And this has just changed. It doesn't cost anything anymore. So when we look at that, and we have the smartphone. You see the smartphone penetration and how it changed in Vietnam in the last years. This is just a smartphone penetration. And you are in a developing market, which is very, very good and very important. And we spoke about, we have the copycats. So we copy things which we saw in other countries. But always think about, strategy can be global, business is local. And if you don't know your market, you will fail. It is the great chance for businesses in Vietnam with people understanding their market. And then the international cooperation. Because you're coming here from a developed market, we are already done with our mobile subscription. 178 million mobile subscription and just 82 million inhabitants. So we have more mobile subscriptions. But let's put it in a context. In what kind of time do we live here? And there I take the quotes and from a very important Harvard professor of history. It's Mr. Neil Ferguson. And he wrote this book, The Square in the Tower, where he speaks about networks. And we are in the Vietnam, Germany Innovation Network. So we are already also a network. And we have our rules. And it's not about, when you hear network, you need about social media networks, just or something like that. He speaks about the network of Jesus Christ, of some parties, and probably he will speak about us here too. And they act in different ways. But he also speaks about innovation in this book. And he mentions one thing. We see at the moment quite a trend in the world to, instead of free trade, making some walls, making some customs and so on, trade wars. And he asks himself, what is that because of the innovation? Because of the social media? What is it? What is it? And he says, just going back to populism a little bit, seems to be, and you can read it in the New York Times or also in the Handelsblatt site very often, it could be a little like the 30s of the last century. But Mr. Ferguson is not of that idea, and I agree to him. He says, the only time we might consider the same is the 1450s. So the question is, what was in the 1450s? Anyone knows? What happened in the 1450s? What kind of invention was there? Exactly. It was the Gutenberg, and he printed, he copied out the printer. And all that was just the initial phase of something much bigger, of alphabetism in the world, and of spreading words. And now I want to stress one thing. Technology is not good or bad. Technology is technology. It's us human beings, what we make out of it. So when we look at this here, this is the first book printed. It's the Bible, and it's the Lithuanian Bible, and for sure Gutenberg helped Protestantism also to develop and to spread the word. It's always with the things, and it was 200 years, number one in the book bestseller list. Probably will not be challenged anymore. The question is, always with the number two. What was the number two in the book's bestseller list for 200 years? With 29 editions.
Little Prince? The Little Prince.
Guinness Book of
Guinness Book of Records. A little bit younger, so it didn't come up that long. It's also not for all the. It's not the IKEA catalog, no, it was not that too. It is a book, also because it's also for 200 years, called Malleus Maleficarum. Malleus Maleficarum, also the Hammer of Witches named, was the basis for the witch hunt and for the Inquisition, which costed thousands and thousands of people their lives. If you look at it from a scientific point of view, now in this book, it's 100% fake news. There's nothing correct inside. And the word fake news is something wrong. And sometimes we tend to, in these times, to call for the government and say, yeah, government has to regulate that. Attention. About regulation there could be good, but this word has two sides. And it's quite well known if we speak here internationally. It's called the Cobra effect. What is that? It's a story from India at the time when the British ruled over India. They had the problems with the cobras. A lot of people were dead later on, so the governor said, no problem. For every head of a cobra, you get money. Well, very good. The Indians said, great. The Indians are great entrepreneurs too. And so they started what? Started breed cobras. And so they had a lot of cobras to bring to the governor, and the governor said, oh, I got you. This was not the program. I wanted that you get the cobras out of the nature, not to breed them and to sell them. So we stopped the program immediately. The Indians said, following, okay, I don't get money for the cobras anymore, what do? I release them. So problems 4 times. So before you call for government and regulations, think about what happens there. And I come to the next point now. And it's funny that Mr. Behrens, just before, when you spoke about the free trade agreement, you spoke about cheese also. It's always important to see innovation in a cultural context. Not everything works everywhere the same. And to make a cultural context topic, you spoke about French cheese, and there's an interesting person called Peter Drucker. He said once, culture eats strategy for breakfast. And I can really recommend this book inside. Because everyone, when he hears a word or sees something, could think something different about a point. And maybe, I don't think this evening, but maybe at another time, when we speak about cheese, and we saw about Thüringer Wurst, also very famous and very much liked, and maybe here someone inside here likes French cheese. Now think about a very wonderful French cheese, or Roquefort or something like that. We have something in mind. Do you think it might look like that? Maybe. The same thing like technology is with culture. Culture is not right or wrong, it's culture. It's evolved in hundreds and hundreds of years and generations. This is what it is, and you cannot just change it. When you're in a company which is big and which doesn't have a culture of innovation, you say, okay, now we make a workshop and then we have an innovation culture. That doesn't work. You need time and you need to like that. So, in French it's called fromage. And if an American, have you been to America shortly, someone? Who's been to America? You've been to America? You got the same cheese there too? Not? Yes? Robin. But if not, we should go over B2 and we open a business, French cheese. You think we have success? Here in the front row, Miss Wolf says no. We both, maybe we believe in it. Why not? You always have to put yourself in the market. Number one, what would happen? We would not only fail, we would end up in prison. Because you have to pasteurize cheese in the US. So if an American, it's not wrong. Huh? When if I say the word cheese to an American, he doesn't think of that because he's been grown up like that. And these 4 pictures, now we come to technology again, are not Jochen's pictures of most favorite in his head because Jochen is biased because he grew up in Germany. It's the first 4 pictures in Google when I give him French cheese. So, ask Google, put away French, put US. These are the first 4 pictures which are coming. So, not wrong, not right. If you like it or if you don't like it, but this is the difference. And from a cultural point of view, Clotaire tells us alive and dead. So, this is a little bit like the points are. So, ladies and gentlemen, please, what I want to say and what to stress at the end here, this is a great opportunity for both of our countries. And you have really, as we saw in the beginning, the basis for being a greatly innovative country. And we see it in the growth rates of Vietnam. And the second thing is, you don't have to make all the steps. Today, with the innovation rates which we have, we can step in a certain point further, which is a great opportunity. It's not from somewhere that that Germany, for example, is looking greatly for data scientists, for people. And you can have that if you make your school system, if you make the universities go in a certain direction and have this advantage. So I will be happy to see in 10 years where these 2 countries, these 2 wonderful countries, Germany and Vietnam, will stay. And I'm happy being here and very honored being here. Thank you very much.